Hey, so today we're going to sew along with Maria Rosa and make Ciao Isabella. This trouser is a perfect project for a confident beginner looking to elevate their handmade wardrobe. It's designed with no buttons or zips, and these trousers offer a stress-free sewing experience without compromising on style. They feature a flattering front waistband paired with an elasticated back for ultimate comfort. And as we love our pockets, they have two side entry pockets and a narrow hem at the bottom of the trouser with a shortening and lengthening line, so you can make either cropped as we are doing or to the desired length you wish. So let's get started. Start by pressing onto the wrong side of our waistband, on the half of the waistband, a lightweight piece of interfacing. Now we're going to work our pockets as a pair, and we're starting by attaching right sides together to the front of our trouser piece. We're attaching the pocket lining and we're pinning this at the curved edge, and we will sew along the pinned area. We're then going to understitch through all layers within the seam allowance on the pocket edges, and this prevents the seams from rolling and showing on the right side of the garment. We're pressing well our pocket lining. Now, with right sides matching, we're going to pin the pocket lining to the pocket bag. We're going to sew around the outer curved edges. Remember to start and finish with a back stitch. Once we've finished sewing around the curved edges of both pockets, we will then overlock these edges. We're going to secure our pocket to the trouser. You can either do this by stitching or tacking to hold this in place within the 1 centimeter seam allowance along the waistline edge and the side of the trousers to secure the pocket bags in place. We're going to attach the two front pieces of our trouser, and we are pinning along the center front seam, the crotch area, matching the notches, and we will stitch along this area. Maria Rosa's used a checked fabric, so she's making sure here that the checks are all matching up. We're going to work on the center back seam, so we're taking the two back pieces of our trouser, matching the notches right sides together, and we're going to sew along this area. You might want to, for extra strength of this seam, either double stitch there or turn the trouser to the right side and perform a tot stitch along the seam. Now we're going to overlock along the area we've stitched of our front crotch. We're also overlocking as well the centre back seam that we've just sewn. I mentioned earlier you could reinforce the centre back seam, and here you can see in the video Maria Rosa top stitching this area. Before going any further, we're going to give our trouser from the wrong side a pressing the seams towards the back. Now we're going to join the outside leg seams, so we're joining the front and the back with right sides together. We're matching up the notches, and as you can see, Maria Rosa's matching up the checks as well. If you've chosen a checked fabric, then you need to have paid special attention when cutting this out so that your checks will be aligned. And we are going to then sew along the pinned area with a 1 centimeter seam allowance, paying a special attention by the pocket area that you're not going to catch any of the pocket parts within this stitching line. We're going to overlock our side seams, so we're overlocking both the areas of the side seams that we've just stitched. If you don't have an overlocking machine, you can do this with a zigzagging stitch. Now we're overlocking the bottom hem of our trouser. You can see we've only sewn the outside leg seams, so our trouser is flat. This enables us to press well the seams that we've sewn and overlocked, and we are also pressing and turning up to the notch indicated on the pattern, the bottom hemline. Now we're ready to close our inside seam of the trouser, so we're going to pin along this area matching the notches, and then we will start to sew from the hemline and sew up to the other edge of the hem of the trouser, paying attention at the area of the crotch that everything is matching. Now we're going to overlock our inside leg seam that we've just sewn. Now using a sleeve arm, we're pressing our inside leg seam that we've just sewn. If you don't have a sleeve arm, maybe you might want to use a rolled up towel, that would help. So now we're going to prepare the waistband for our trouser. So we're bringing right sides together, the front and back of the waistband, and we are sewing these at the two short ends with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. Having sewn both ends of our waistband together, we have now a loop, and we are opening and pressing flat this line of stitching that we've just done. Now we're going to overlock our waistband only one side, and it's the edge that has not got the interfacing attached. So we're overlocking around the whole circumference of our waistband. Now we have to attach the waistband to our trousers. So we're matching right sides together, the unfinished long edge to the trousers, easing the trousers to fit the waistband, aligning the side seams and matching the center front and center back seams to the notches on the band. And then we're pinning that, and then we're going to start and we're going to sew all the way around our waistband. Now we need to press our waistband, so we're pressing the seam that we have sewn upwards towards the waistband all the way around, ready to fold down our waistband so that the overlocked edge will cover our stitching line. Now fold the waistband to the inside along the pre-pressed crease so the overlocked edge covers the waist seam line. We're going to pin this, or if you prefer, you can tack it, because sometimes the pins can get in the way as you stitch. And it's important that we place one vertical pin 2 centimeters either side of the two side seams. This is where we're going to leave a gap of 4 centimeters, and this will mark the openings for the back casing, where we're going to feed our elastic through. Now we're going to use the stitch in the ditch technique to attach our waistband. We are sewing as close as possible to the seam line of our waistband from the right side. We're using a zipper foot to do this, and we're going to stop when we get to the vertical pins, which indicates the opening for our elastic. So now, with the use of a safety pin or a large-eyed bodkin, we're going to pin this to the elastic and thread it through the back casing. We're going to block the elastic at both ends with a safety pin, and then you're ready to try the trouser on, and also check the length of the trouser. Now we're blocking our elastic in place, so we're sewing directly from the front into the seam line of the waistband, and blocking this several times backwards and forwards. Now all we need to do is close the gaps. We're joining the existing stitching lines below the waistband. Showing you a technique to block the hem. So this is the back of the trouser, this is the front side. She's folding the front up against the front, and then she's going to stitch along the side seam within the seam allowance up to a certain point of the hemline, and then when we turn the hem back to its original position, you can see that it is blocked in place along the side seam. Congratulations. So now if you're watching this last step, your trouser is almost finished. We're just pinning the hem in place, and we're going to work from the wrong side, machine stitch using one edge of the overlocking to keep the stitching parallel to the hem's fold. Otherwise, you could also hand stitch your hem or stitch from the right side of the trouser. So if you've been sewing along with Maria Rosa, congratulations, you're now at the final pressing stage and your Ciao Isabella trousers are ready to wear. It's a great trouser, cropped or made longer, and it's great for all year round. So you can choose a linen. We've got lovely linens on Fabrics by Hilary. Ischia would be great in this, or a lightweight denim like our Portofino. So you can also use lightweight wools. A great trouser. So happy sewing again.